Welcome back to S&S Grills. I'm Mike from the Everyday Barbecue YouTube channel, and today we'll be doing game-changing queso dip out on the slow and sear Kettle Grill. And it's coming up right now. Once again, thank you very much for being here with us. We really appreciate having you here. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please consider doing so by hitting the button down there. Now today's recipe starts with setting up the kettle correctly. So let's head outside and I'll show you exactly how I have the kettle set up for today's cook. So I'm starting with a full slow and sear full of unlit briquettes. We're going to be cooking today at about 250 to 275 degrees, anywhere in that range. So we're going to start with a low and slow lighting method. And I'm going to place just a small chunk of hickory in here. I like to place it underneath the coals, so I'm just going to slide a couple coals out of the way. Place my hickory there. I have my dripping griddle in place here to catch any overflow or drippings that may go down to the bottom of the grill, and I've covered that with tin foil just to make for easy cleanup. Now I did leave the water reservoir in the slow and sear. We're not going to be cooking with water in there today. I just want to keep those coals banked a little bit further away from our dip in the foil pan. So it's time to light these coals. For that, I'm just going to move a few coals out of the way here, place our tumbleweed down. Now we want to get that lit. Once that's lit, just get some coals placed around it. You want to place coals around it, but you don't want to suffocate it. You want it to be able to breathe. Now that that's lit, we can get our grate on. And we're just going to give this a few minutes to burn and get those coals started. Just a few minutes has passed and you can see that these coals are started. It's time for us to get this lid on and open up our vents. So we're going to open our top vent all the way, and we're going to open up the smoke hole underneath. I really love to use that as my lower vent for these low and slow temperature cooks. Now because this is a really easy cook, I'm just going to be using the lid thermometer here to monitor temperatures. With the top vent fully open and the smoke hole fully open, we're just going to let this come up to about 75 or 100 degrees of our target temps, which again are 250 to 275. Then we'll start choking these back. Now I will show you my final vent settings, but keep in mind that I live in a cooler climate and there's a lot of environmental factors that go into that. So you can use that as a starting point, but yours might be a little different. So here's my final setting for my top vent, and here's my final setting for the smoke hole. Now that we've got our temperatures dialed in, let's go inside and start prepping this queso for the kettle. So I'm starting with an 11 by 13 foil pan that I did spray with some nonstick just as a precaution. Now I'll call all these ingredients out as we put them in the pan, but there will be a link down in the description to the full recipe with all the ingredients and all the cooking instructions. We're going to start with some ground chuck that I've seasoned here with some taco seasoning. If you have a favorite taco seasoning, go ahead and use that. If not, I have a very simple recipe that I'll put in the description for you also. Now we'll be adding some cheddar cheese that I've just cut into blocks. And this is a regular blocked cheddar. To that we're going to be adding some melting cheddar. This is like a Velveeta style cheddar. Really helps with the melting process. Red onion, fresh chopped cilantro. And I am doing this the trendy way for you, separating all the ingredients here. You don't have to do it that way, but it looks cool. Some diced jalapeno. I leave the seeds in my jalapeno. I like that extra heat. That's optional. You can remove the seeds if you want to go a little bit less heat. Now even more cheese. We're going to add some shredded pepper jack to this. And lastly, I'll be adding some diced tomatoes and chilies. Now I like to add these last because I like this moisture to carry down to keep these ingredients from drying out. So we're going to top the meat with these tomatoes. I've done this recipe a number of times, and if you don't cover that meat with the tomatoes, it'll tend to dry out during the first step to this cook. So just a little trick from your Uncle Mike. Our cooker is dialed into temperature. Our foil pan is all ready to go with all the ingredients for this queso. It's time to go back outside and get this on the kettle. Now if you think this looks delicious now, wait till it's finished. All right, let's get this lid on. So this is a two-part cook. The first part has already begun. That's getting all of this melted. This is going to take about an hour. I'll see you then. Exactly 1 hour has gone by. The cooker has been holding in temperature perfectly and everything's melted down. This is ready to stir and combine all these ingredients together. Now back on the cooker. Lid back on. So as you can see, this is some hearty dip. It's gooey, it's melty, and it's delicious. We're gonna give this another hour to just finish warming all the way through and get more of that beautiful smoke flavor into this. I'll see you in 1 hour's time. It's been another hour exactly, and we are ready to go. Let me show you what we've got here. Now you can see we've got some great color. I did temp this with the SNS 100 Insta-Read thermometer just to make sure that we do have enough heat in the center, and we do. We've got the bubbling around the edges that you look for to determine that a dip is done. And it's starting to snow again. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this off the cooker. I'll see you inside. Man, it feels good to be back inside. It's cold out there. Okay, so I did transfer this to a proper serving dish. I'm gonna hit this up with some nice fresh green onion and cilantro. And we'll go ahead and place some fresh pico in the middle. And why not get a couple chips in there. Okay, so this smells absolutely glorious. I feel like I've been waiting forever to get into this taste test, and it's time to do it. Cheers, everybody. Okay, so that flavor is just incredible. The smokiness, the meltiness, the cheesiness. This has got all the elements of the perfect tailgating food. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you'll give this recipe a try at home. Don't forget, till next time, 2 zones are better than 1, and I'll see you on the next video.